and springs and streams and rainfall. Now, moving on a bit, Wellington City Council arrives in 1927. The Wellington City and Suburban Water Board was created by an Act of Parliament. And, we leap again, 1943, the Hutt River Scheme was developed. The Kaitoki Weir was built, and a 56-kilometre pipeline was connected to the Lower Karori Reservoir. By 1953, the waterborne disease had greatly reduced, that there were still complaints about water quality. Chlorination plants were built. 1952 was when I was born. Then the Regional Council arrives. 1973, the government required water resources to be managed on a regional basis, and so the Wellington Regional Water Board was formed. In 1980, this gave way to the Wellington Regional Council, which assumed responsibility for the collection and treatment of water for the Greater Wellington area. The Timarua Storage Lakes and Treatment Plant were opened in 1987. The Wainui Amata Treatment Plant opened in 1993, and in 1998 the Karori reservoirs, no longer in use as water supply, were turned into the Karori Wildlife Sanctuary. Capacity. Capacity was the brainchild of Andrew Mackenzie, and he was the Chief Financial Officer at Wellington City Council at the time, and he was the person who was pushing for city operations to be turned over to the private sector. Council then had a huge battle to retain city operations, and actually that was won. But as a consequence, for a sort of face-saving alternative, Andrew pushed to privatise water. So, you know, if you can't win the big battle, you start with a little bit. And in 2004, Wellington City Council collaborated with the Hutt City Council to establish Capacity, a non-profit organisation which now maintains water, sewage, stormwater infrastructure for both councils. Until the last triennium, I was one of two councillors from WCC on the board and was removed before the 2007 election and replaced by Councillor Foster after the election, and he received a 50% along with the rest of the board pay increase. They then had been asking for at that time they had been asking for a pay increase for the entire term that I'd served on Capacity. And I must give tribute to Alex Shaw at the time, because although he's not my political flavour, he supported my opposition to the board having a pay increase. Now the board now has only one elected representative, and the so-called community representatives are from the business community of professional directors and engineers, or should I say one engineer. The latest appointment to Capacity is an ex-Wellington Alive City Councillor who is an electrical engineer and friend of the Mayor. There have been several changes to the main contractors to Capacity, the most recent being the replacement of Billfinger Berger with City Care. This is, no doubt explains the institutional loss, the loss of institutional memory, should I say, and a lot of the problems that Capacity has been having attempting to reach its key performance measures. Capacity was to be made up of equal representation of elected members and community representatives. Capacity's objectives were a saving target of 4.175 million in the first 5 years and 1.6 million thereafter. This has not been achieved, nor have the key performance measures. That actually is just a quick little sweep of how we started. We take it for granted, incredibly actually, the supply of water. That man that I knew who was born in 1862 was my great-grandfather. and he died in 1962. And so that was a very interesting experience for me, because it kind of brought together all the basic things that this country was built on its strong collective focus on the need to have local government doing things for the community. And I guess what we're seeing now is the breaking down of the local aspect of community governance and the issues I think that Ian and Frank both teased out really well, is how that process is actually starting to unwind now. And it is something that we have to attend to. It's an issue that needs urgent attention, because it sort of cuts to the heart of what democracy is, really. And I can actually give you a definition of democracy in about 7 words, and most people struggle to do that, but I'll tell you what mine is. It's majority rule, minority protection, and sharing the benefits. And water as a resource is a community asset, it's a community resource, and in a democracy we have to actually find how we share that in an equitable way. So I think that's all I want to say. I just think that Frank and Ian did a fabulous job with their PowerPoint presentations, and the little part that you got wrong was about the for-profit, but since the capacity engages the commercial sector, the profit takers are in there getting their share.
Yeah, it's
so
a contract.
it's not a criticism of what you're saying. Do sign the petition, do become involved, and I think it's actually very, very sad the way the whole thing has just taken place in the process of about 10 years. And with very little opposition. I think originally there were 2 councillors, myself and one other, who opposed the formation of capacity. To the point where, as you say now, it's actually ready to, with the assistance of people like Roger Kerr, roll on to other things. So thanks a lot, guys.
Awesome. I'm going to open up the floor to questions. Does anyone have any questions of the speakers? Oh, Joe, and then Alistair.
I guess it goes out to everyone. I was in Australia recently, and there was a really interesting talk given by Australian academic Humphrey McQueen. And one of the things he talked about was sort of nationalised or public ownership under sort of capitalism, or sort of bourgeois city councils, that sort of thing, is really about providing services, controlling assets that the private sector don't control, or for various reasons can't control. I was kind of interested in talking about the discussion between whether the capacity makes a profit or not, because what I saw up on there was that residents are paying a huge amount of more for the water, and ergo, so businesses are paying a lot less now in relation to the demand and stuff like that. And so what it seems to me is that capacity might not be making money for business, but it's saving a hell of a lot. I mean, what are the various speakers think on the role of capacity and the control of water supply and the subsidisation of corporate water?
Anyone like to go?
Sorry, do you want? Sorry, put that in a sentence.
Oh, it's quite. Businesses undercharged. That's what capacity does. It might not make money, but that seems the role it seems to do is to push that burden on.
Part
on the residents.
part of corporatisation was also actually contracting out to not-for-profit, like in healthcare. That's what you get to a certain degree. It's like I did make a mistake, but it's not necessarily a profit model so much as a contracting model, which makes it easier for business to get involved. But and harder for people to actually play a part in it, because it makes it privately owned. But, sorry, what you're saying?
Yeah, well, actually, are you finished?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, actually, that's a really good point, and I'm sure Frank will have something to say about it too.